Ah, yes, exclusives. We all know them well if we're a collector of pretty much anything. There's always that character or that plate or that spoon or that video game cover or that comic book cover. Something that is exclusive. And it used to mean special. It used to mean something. And it was the sort of thing where you would be happy if you got it. Not everybody had it. Not everyone was necessarily going to want it or need it or get it. But it stood out as something special, something only those select few would actually get. And if you didn't get one or you didn't bother to get one, well, you could usually live without it because it wasn't necessarily going to be part of your main core collection anyway. Well, times have changed, and nowadays, in 2022, exclusive refers to kind of anything that is sold by a particular store or chain. And there's a lot of them in the Transformers universe. I would assume that they kind of span a lot of other universes, from Marvel to G.I. Joe to Power Rangers, I would assume. But in our case here on this channel, our concern is the exclusives from Transformers. And there have been a lot in the recent history of time, we'll say. And a lot that people have missed, which led to this week's question, which is, as voted on by fans all across social media, what are the top 10 exclusives that should be reissued for Transformers? That's our topic this time around in the latest GotBot Countdown. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, that means it's countdown day around here. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you're at it, loud my baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that is in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through spring. Or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. So a whole lot of stuff down in the description. And this is the top 10 Transformers exclusives that really should be reissued for a number of reasons. Now, there were a lot of votes, and this was referred to like newer exclusives or really old exclusives. It was wide open. And the voting was a little strange because some people voted for things that they'd like to see reissued, but it wasn't originally an exclusive. So it would get disqualified. For example, G1 Ultra Magnus. Now, I know there have been exclusive reissues of it in the past, like Encore and whatnot, but originally, way back in the 80s, I don't think he was an exclusive. I'm pretty sure that Ultra Magnus was just like a mainline character out wherever in the 80s. So that didn't really count. Though, arguably, he could use a reissue. Or like G1 Sunstreaker. Again, if it was to come out now, it would probably be an exclusive, but originally it wasn't, so it wouldn't be a reissue of an exclusive. Or Titans Return Topspin and Twin Twist. They weren't exclusives, they were mainline. So again, they would have to be disqualified. There were really two criteria here that had to be met. One, they were talking about a figure or a figures or a pack that was an exclusive to a con or to a store or something of that nature. And two, something that you'd like to see reissued. So it had to be an exclusive to somewhere. It had to be something that you would like to see reissued. That's the two criteria that had to be met in the voting. So if people cast a vote and did not meet those two criteria or made up their own and said, I'd like to see an exclusive of such and such, then it was disqualified. Now, something like G1 Reflector, for example, yes, that would count because he was a mail-in. And the only way you were going to get him was a mail-away because he was a mail-away exclusive in G1. So if he was released or reissued, then he could still be an exclusive. But like, even if it was a wider reissue, yeah, that was an exclusive that could use a reissue. So that would count. So it was a little bit hairy doing the voting this time around. I wanted to point out those two things so that as we go through, if you're thinking about certain characters that you are thinking, yeah, that should use a reissue, how come that one didn't get a lot of votes? Consider, was it actually an exclusive? or something that's an exclusive that got missed. Maybe people just don't want it reissued again. The voting here was very interesting. Very interesting. We're going to kick things off with our honorable mentions, and there are two of them. One is I think it was Titan's Return, maybe it was Power of the Primes, Greenlight. Yeah, okay, maybe it was even War for Cybertron Siege. I don't know what Greenlight was, but the Amazon exclusive Greenlight, a lot of people missed out, and I've heard of like the prices being kind of nuts. Now, to be fair, she was overpriced on Amazon to begin with. Wildly overpriced as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, to each their own. Apparently she sold out quickly. Now, here's what's funny to me. A lot of people are like, they should reissue Greenlight. But a lot of people hated that mold, so like, why would you want that reissued? You know what I mean? I love it, but I understand a lot of people didn't love it, and that's fine too. But she was an honorable mention, and Punch, Counterpunch, which I find interesting because he's actually been released twice now. Well, he's been released 4 times now, technically, and all of the updated versions have all been exclusives. There was the reuse of the classics, Sideswipe, Sunstreaker mold. That was a con exclusive or Collector Club exclusive. Then there was just Counterpunch using one of the Combiner Wars molds. That was again a con or a Collector Club exclusive or something. I don't remember which one. I want to say Collector Club. Then there was the Power of the Primes version with the deeper orangey yellow and the deeper blue that came out as part of the Prime Wars. That was an Amazon exclusive. And then that mold with a lighter yellow and a lighter blue was released again as part of the Dominus Pursuit 2-pack under the Galactic Odyssey subline, which again was an Amazon exclusive. So it's so interesting that people still want this. He's been released a number of times, but every time it's been as an exclusive. So I don't know. I'm happy to have him. Actually, I ended up with 2 and gave 1 away. But I'm generally happy to have the guy. And yeah, you know what? I think he's tremendous. I really do think if you missed out on him, that it's definitely worth a reissue if the sales could be there. And I would venture to say that if these reissues have the votes they have, then the sales would probably be there. Anyway, that's our 2 honorable mentions. None of them made the list. So who did? You know what we're going to do, man? We're going to kick things off with number 10 first. And coming in at number 10, we have this guy. Well, kind of this guy. This is, of course, the big red blaster that comes with Generations Metroplex. Now, there were a couple of votes that came in for Generations Metroplex that I disqualified and said, well, no, he wasn't an exclusive. He was available wherever they would take Titans to be available. So then people kind of went back with their voting, and they said, okay, how about specifically the SDCC version of Metroplex? And I said, you know what? I can count that because that was a San Diego Comic-Con version. Why specifically that one? And I don't even really for sure remember that one, but a lot of people cited that he had chrome thighs and they wanted that. I prefer the white thighs, but if you prefer the chrome, I understand. Same with the face, and he came with not 1 but 2 of these blasters. That's why I have the blaster here. And I get that why you would want 2 blasters. Now, me, personally, I was super lucky. A lot of people have heard that Starscream wife was able to find Metroplex for me for like $90 Canadian in the aftermarket. It was pretty glorious. Very lucky. But I found a second one of these at a thrift store for $2.50. I don't know how it got donated. I don't care. I'm very lucky. I ended up with 2 of these for my Metroplex really by accident and happenstance. But so many people have missed Metroplex, and in light of the legacy Cybertron Metroplex, there have been criticisms where people still want the original CityBot. There have been calls to totally redo a G1 version, and there have been a lot of people who have called for a reissue of the Generations one. I couldn't count the Generations, but the SDCC Metroplex with his 2 big blasters, you know what? He was glorious then, he's glorious now, and enough fans felt the same way that he was able to take the number 10 slot. Number 9 is very interesting, and it is I'll say like a main tier, you know, top A-list character that I don't think ever should have been an exclusive, but in the United States it was an exclusive, I believe, to Walgreens, and in Canada it was an exclusive, I believe, to EB Games / GameStop, and it's Siege Ratchet. This is a tremendous Ratchet. Mine is pretty customized. A lot of people also said, when they voted for him, they said without the like space goop on him. I removed it. I got some rubbing alcohol and took it off. It's not that hard. I done some other custom paintwork here. This is a tremendous Ratchet. Really, really tremendous Ratchet. I think it may have been a little more rare in the United States than it was in Canada, because I saw a few of these guys on the shelves at the at my local EB Games at the time. Really well done. I get it, the alt mode is stylized because it's Cyberdronian, but man, that robot is pretty darn quintessentially Ratchet. I think he should have been released just in the main line, but he was released as an exclusive, and enough fans, I guess, missed out on this guy and feel like, you know, he could still find life in the sales aisle, that he should be reissued. I can't say that I argue with you. One of the main characters that a lot of people want in their collection is Ratchet, and Siege Ratchet is one of the best, and that's why he took the number 9 slot. Now, of course, as I say that, coming in at number 8 is Earthrise Ratchet. Now, there were a couple of votes for the entire Paradron Medics 2-pack again, which I think was part of the Galactic Odyssey line, which was an Amazon exclusive. And Lifeline from that, the Paradron Medic Lifeline from that, she didn't get even one vote. Nobody cares. But this guy did, and a lot of people said that voted for this guy said, just release him by himself if you got to. I find it so funny that both the Siege appears on this list and the Earthrise appears on this list. Evidently, the Siege one was hard to get. Evidently, the Paradron Medics 2-pack was very hard to get, especially I think in the US, though I think Canada had its issues with it as well. I get it. Ratchet, again, just like I said, for number 9, is a main line, main tier, top tier character. He should never ever have been exclusive. He should have just been out for any fan to get, because he is kind of quintessential even for that main arc lineup from season 1 and continued on through right to the movie and his tragic end. Whether, I guess, you side on the side of Siege, which came in at number 9, or side on the side of this guy, Earthrise Ratchet, I get it. Enough fans feel, hey man, we need Ratchet. Put him out again. We need Ratchet, that this guy was able to take by himself the number 8 slot. Number 7 is a tie, baby. And one of these is a Walmart exclusive in the US and in Canada. The other one is, I believe, a Target exclusive in the US. And I think it was a Toys R Us exclusive in Canada. As a matter of fact, I ended up kind of by accident with 2 of one of these and was able to kind of hook up another local collector with it, which was good, because one of these never did show up here on our shelves. Who am I talking about? What am I talking about? Well, the first one I'm talking about is Netflix Bumblebee. A lot of people said he was super duper rare and hard to get. I can't say I found him rare here. It's so weird. We did not get any of the Wave 1 Netflix stuff here at all. But the wave with Bumblebee, we had a bunch of that. This guy was not hard to get here. I wish I'd known that so many people were finding it difficult, because I would have done what I could to try and help people out. But he wasn't that hard to get here. Fairly easy eventually once the wave started coming. This guy is pretty neat. It's a pretty good Bumblebee. It's not my favorite because of the more orangey color rather than the yellowy color. And I wish that we had... I don't know, like just a couple of slight differences to the head. It's good, don't get me wrong. It's a good Bumblebee. It's just a couple of tweaks I think could have made it a little better for my personal taste. That being said, this guy probably really should get reissued, because I hear it so often that so many people missed out on this. Some people have voted and said, well, the reissue should be a wider release. Can't do that. There's a contract with Walmart. The only way that they could do a wider release of this, maybe in the buzzworthy Bumblebee line or something, is when and if that contract with Walmart expires. Like if there's a time frame there and that expires, then they'll be able to kind of release it wider. Or they could possibly go to Walmart and say, hey, what about another run of these on your shelves? There's 2 ways that it could be handled. Any way you cut it, this guy probably does deserve to have a reissue. The other one that apparently was quite rare is this guy. It is Earthrise Runabout. I think this is Runabout. I think this one's Runabout. Or is this Runamok? This might be Runamok. I'm not sure. I'm sure I got it correct, because after this I'll go and I'll look it up so that when I put the number thing up on the side, it'll be the correct one. I can't remember. I can't believe I'm kind of blanking on his name. Anyway, the black one with the red. Here's what's funny. I kept waiting for this guy to show up here. Now, if he showed up here at our Toys R Us, I never, ever, ever saw it. Mine came from the US, as did the second one that came my way. They both came from the US, and I was able to hook up another local collector with one and keep one myself. And the two of us have talked and said, it's a good thing that that worked out for us, because otherwise I don't think we would have been able to get this guy. Here's what bothers me. The white lad, he was released just in the main line, so why would you make his partner, because we know they're a duo, why would you make this one an exclusive? I don't think Bumblebee, main tier character, I don't think this guy, both of them, as far as I'm concerned, should have been mainline, everywhere, not exclusive. And you know what? I think enough fans feel like that they kind of got, what, jaded on exclusives by missing out on these two, that yeah, they absolutely deserve to be reissued, and both of them, at a tie, took the number 7 slot. I found number 6 very interesting. Number 6 was the Phantom Strike Squadron, specifically Siege Skywarp. Now mine is definitely painted up and customized. There's more black on this guy than what I have. Like, I painted the null rays, I painted his shoulders, I did some paint on his arm here to make the purples all match. But I love this guy. I love the Tetrajet mold. Everybody that has been around here knows this. I have every version of it. I don't have doubles of it because I don't need that, but I have every version of it. I think it is the vastly superior Seeker mold, certainly for the robot. I understand that there are people out there that would very much have the attitude of, yeah, I don't like the Tetrajet mode, and that's fine. That's a stylistic thing. I get it. But in terms of being the robot that looks like it jumped off the TV screen, this one is pretty quintessential. And this one got a ton of votes, enough that he was able to take the number 6 slot. Ah, yes, and you know where we are. That's right. We're at the most coveted of locations, the halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, just like how number 6 with Skywarp is yet another example of a top tier main character that should never ever be an exclusive. It should just be released, period. Number 5 is a similar thing. A top tier main character, part of the R crew right away, that never ever should have been an exclusive, and it was part of a 2-pack exclusive, as a matter of fact. That was, I believe, an Amazon exclusive, if I'm not mistaken, and it's this guy, Ironhide, Earthrise, Ironhide. The Siege one was just mainline. You could go into any store and get it. This guy was bonkers to get. And I'm still not 100% sure why my pre-order didn't get canceled and other people's did. I really don't know. It was just pure luck, I guess, for me. I don't know. But he was brutal to get, and he never should have been an exclusive to begin with. Now, there have been a lot of criticisms of the mold. I get that. I like it. Like, I'm fine with this Ironhide. I'm even fine with the whole sled thing on his back, because it's actually shockingly not nearly as obtrusive as I thought it would be. I have this mold several times over. It's not super inspired, and I think the chest isn't quite as good on this guy as it is on the Siege, but I do kind of like the alt mode, as hodgepodge as it could be for the van. Word is, as of this recording, that we're getting a Studio Series 86 Voyager version. Will that be a new mold, or will it be something akin to the Starscream, where we get a reissue of this guy that I think then would be mainline with some extra accessories? While I think a lot of people would like a new mold, I think a lot of people that missed out on this guy would be satisfied with a reissue of this. Would it, you know, warrant a Voyager value price point? I don't see it. You definitely have to put in a lot more accessories than just his little drill cannon or drill thing over there. I like him. He never should have been an exclusive. He's a mainline character that a lot of fans missed out on, and a lot of fans to this day still want. And that's why he took the number 5 slot. By now, you're probably noticing that there's a bit of a theme going on here of kind of main tier, top tier characters that were released as exclusives that never should have been exclusives and should have just been a mainline release and easy for fans to get everywhere. Number 4 is another case in point of exactly that. At number 5, we looked at Ironhide. At number 4, his partner, Prowl. Earth Mode Prowl. Don't get me wrong, some people prefer the Siege one. And that's fine if you prefer the Siege one. It never spoke to me. I never wanted it. It wasn't an alt mode that I particularly enjoyed. Smokescreen was mainline release. I think the Earthrise Blue Streak was, I want to say, a Target / EB Games exclusive, but he wasn't hard to get here at all. He was pretty easy to get. Then we had Barricade, that was part of the Dominus 2-pack. Again, an exclusive. And we had this guy. And this guy was, again, an exclusive. He was part of that 2-pack with Ironhide. It was an Amazon exclusive. Even now, the Autobot Silver Streak, the blue streak, is a buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive to Target. Like, of all the versions of this mold that exists, only one came out in the main line. I find that real weird. I think this guy should have absolutely came out in the main line. I've done a lot of custom paint work on the guy. Some people have complained about breakage issues at the knee too. That's another problem with exclusives, especially if they're online exclusives. Usually they sell out because they're somewhat limited run, and if something breaks, if something doesn't work right, then guess what? You're probably out of luck, or you're going to have to pay a hefty price to replace it. Something seems wrong about that for a mainline, top tier type of character. Maybe he'll get a reissue one day. He certainly deserves it. And maybe that reissue will be mainline. Time will tell. Anyway, you cut it. Fans want Earth Mode Prowl bad enough that he was able to take the number 4 slot. Number 3 takes us back to really an exclusive that again should never have been an exclusive. I think it was a Target exclusive in the US and a Toys R Us exclusive in Canada. Not plentiful at all, and it's this guy, Thrust. He was released by himself, a lone Conehead, I guess because he's red, basically, kind of red. I guess that's why he became a Target exclusive. I think he was part of the Cybertron Villains subline. I was surprised that they did the update of the Coneheads, which I think the Coneheads badly needed an update. I was pretty surprised that they made the Coneheads exclusives, because they were gonna sell a lot more than what they actually sold, to be honest with you, because a lot of fans, as much as they might like the old classics, knew that, man, they're due for an update. And because we had gotten Voyager versions of the main trio, a lot of people said, we really need Voyager versions of the updated trio. I don't think he ever should have been an exclusive, and I know how much I feared myself about getting this guy and was concerned I wouldn't get him, because honestly, I was never a huge fan of the classics mold. I always wanted to update him. As much as the Earthrise mold is not my favorite Seeker mold, I think it does work infinitely better for the Coneheads than it does the main trio. That's just me. Yeah, a lot of fans missed out on Thrust. A lot of fans wanted an update to the Conehead trio, and a lot of fans would still like to have this guy. He definitely deserves to be reissued, and enough fans want that reissued that this guy was able to take the number 3 slot. Number 2 is very topical as of this recording, because there's been a lot of discussion recently about Soundwave. Some people called it the Earthrise Soundwave. He's not the Earthrise Soundwave, because there was no Earthrise Soundwave. This is Netflix Soundwave. And he was released as a Walmart exclusive. Again, apparently very hard to get, very limited. He wasn't super hard to get here. I saw him a bunch of times and told other collectors about him, and he inevitably would sell. But I could have probably gotten this guy 5-6 times, which is weird, because again, there's a lot of this stuff that we miss out on, but for some reason we got these, right? Like a lot of the G1 reissues or the Beast Wars reissues, never got it. But this guy got a bunch of them. Go figure. Way to go, distribution. And then recently in Legacy, it was announced that there's going to be a Soundwave release, and it's a reissue of the Siege version without all of the battle damage muck on him. And a lot of people questioned and said, why not do this guy again? Because, much like the Netflix Bumblebee, they can't. This is an exclusive to Walmart. Until the contract expires and the time expires, if there's a time limit, until that expires, they can't do this because it's exclusive to Walmart. It has to be through them. So much like with Bumblebee earlier on the list, this guy could have another run in the Netflix line coming out in Walmart, specifically, again, as an exclusive, or they could wait until a time frame expires, assuming there's one on that exclusive contract, and then after that, do another reissue of this guy. Hopefully not as another exclusive. I like the Siege one. I don't have a problem with it. I even have the Shockwave Labs upgrade kit to make him turn into a cassette player. But there is also something charming about this guy. Exclusive contracts. They'll make fans tear their hair out, especially when it comes to someone that they want so bad. Someone who, again, is an absolute top main tier, main character. Probably one of the top 5 or 6 that most people would want. He should have had a wider run, a bigger run, but he didn't. Maybe one day he will. For now, though, he takes our number 2 slot. And here we are at number 1. And at number 1, we actually kind of again have a tie, sort of, because it's the Coneheads 2-pack of Dirge and Ramjet. These were an Amazon exclusive. I know that in Canada, not one pre-order was filled. None. Every single solitary one was canceled eventually. I waited diligently with my pre-order, saw others getting canceled. I had delay emails, all of it for, I believe it was 53 weeks, 51 weeks, 52 weeks, about a year. And then I got the cancellation. And by then it was sold out. There was, you know, no chance really of even at the time finding these guys on the aftermarket. And if you did, there were some idiotic price like $350 or something for 2 Voyagers. Like, stop being ludicrous. Luckily, and to this day, I am absolutely thankful, in an enamored way thankful, that Masterfire hooked me up with these two. So very appreciative, more than he'll ever know. Fun fact though, even with that, even through all that tumultuousness and a year-long journey and then getting hooked up by Masterfire, this guy still has a QC issue. Because there's a misassembly of one of these little parts, he can still transform. It's not a big deal, but it is unfortunate. Goes to show that the lacking QC checks that happened during 2020 and 2021, as were confirmed by Hasbro, because, you know, why check QC? Why hire anybody over where the factory is to check QC? Anyway, it's a shame that that's something that did plague this set. And it's presumed, though it was never confirmed, that a tanker that went down, that there were probably about 4,000 units of this that went somewhere to the bottom of the sea and just never got fulfilled. In fact, when pressed about, hey, why didn't Canada get any of these guys at all, their response was, we didn't know that there was a problem. I'm not really sure how, as the manufacturer and distributor, you don't know that an entire country never got one of your exclusives at all. I think that that's atrocious. Right then and there should have been a bigger rundown of these guys. And I'm going to say it, as I've said for a lot on this list, being main characters, don't even just release them as an exclusive 2-pack. When the time comes that that exclusivity contract is up, though you could do them as a 2-pack for now, whenever that exclusivity contract is up with Amazon, single pack these guys, single pack thrust, just make them mainline releases, make everyone happy, give the people that haven't had a chance to get these guys or thrust an opportunity to get all 3. Yes, the update to the Coneheads gotta take the top spot. And once again, we've gone from 10 right down to 1, and there were a lot of others that had votes too. The last night, Hot Rod had some votes. The Worlds Collide pack, specifically Fangry, got some votes. Thrustinator got some votes. G1 Reflector, as I mentioned earlier. What about the Combiner Wars Blastoff and Slingshot, Quick Slinger, I think was his name, and Breakneck, who is Wild Rider, right? Yeah, I mean, why not those guys? Repugnus, Grotusk, again, they were exclusives. Who else do we have here? The Takara Grand Max Titan. That was only kind of released in Japan. Dark of the Moon Q, I didn't even know he got a release. Couple of people voted for the Earthrise, Thundercracker, and Skywarp 2-pack, but surprisingly, not many. More people wanted the Siege ones, and more votes came in for the Siege one. So I found that really interesting. The Thundercracker, for example, and Skywarp pack, as I'm looking here, got 2 votes. That's it, 2 votes. Says a lot about which mold is preferred, if you ask me. TFCC, Ramjet. The Centurion drone pack, a lot of people missed out on that, especially outside of the US. Road Rage is another one that people voted for. And just for one last one, what about something like... Oh, I like this one. A version of Apex Armor / God Bomber that could connect to the Titan's Return release of Power Master Optimus Prime. Let me know if your favorites made the list or not. There were a lot that were kind of up to be chosen from. The theme that emerged to me is Characters that probably should have just been main releases anyway. Didn't really fit the bill for what an exclusive probably should be. Let me know if your favorites made the list or not. If there was any that kind of got forgotten along the way that you really, really hoped to see. Hopefully all of these do get a wider release so that all fans can enjoy them like those who already own them do. A lot of words. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. And remember that somehow, some way, man, you right there every single solitary day, you do make a difference, whether you realize it or not. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here, inside the videos.